What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the simulator. Welcome back to the channel here at Turbo Talon Golf. I've had a few channel names here. That's but one of them. Today, let's play the Joe Legowski Golf League. I just had a pretty rough round in Flying Fat Kids League. And I do prefer these leagues to the tours, honestly, because they're just usually one round. You can get them out of the way pretty quick. But let's check out the vitals here for the Joe Legowski Golf League. Give me auto putt set to 5s, 5,900 yard tees, Saturday pins. Stimp on the green is going to be 11 with normal firmness. Fairway firmness is normal and your wind is calm. And then, of course, we are back to sea level. I think we were at 1,200 feet above sea level in the last round, but we're back to sea level. Let's load this sucker up here, guys. All right, we got us a driver here. We're ready to tee off on number 1 at Dumbarnie. I've played Dumbarnie a couple of times in the last week or week and a half. I'm not sure how people choose what course they use for their weekly league, but this is a good one, and I think it treated me okay last time. The only thing is my driver is going every which way but straight here today. Let's see if we can't do something about it here. All right, we actually going to be in the fairway. Wow, a fairway in regulation. If you guys watch my videos, you know that is just a treat. Just a treat. All right, let's try to hit this ball. I'd say about $140 here. I really don't want to be long, but I'm gonna have to take an 8-iron here, and that may go a little too far. Apparently my mouse pointer is on the wrong screen. So there you have it. There you go. Sit. Oh boy, I'll take that all day long, baby. I just I shot a 91, which is pretty close to my outdoor handicap in the last round I played at a Flying Fat Kids League for this week. And considering that my GSPro handicap is allegedly around 8, that was kind of rough for me. Okay, started off with a birdie there. That's always welcome. That'll give us a little bit of cushion for when inevitably a bogey monster comes and needs something to eat. He's always going to go for those birdies. Bogeys cancel out birdies because they eat them. Okay, not bad there, just typical Shelby driver. We got 238 into the pin here. I'm guessing this is a par 5. Yes, it is. Let's hit this 3-wood. See if we can get into scoring position again. I'm guessing we're going to be on the beach. That's all right. Let's see if we can get out of this sand trap and somewhere near the green. I think we're going to take I think we're going to take about a 25% penalty out of this if it's considering it a greenside sand trap. But you can see we're not quite greenside. We're more fairway side if I had to choose anything. And we're going to come out left, so let's overcompensate a smidge to the right and just try to get this out of here. No complaints there other than I was not aware that I generated backspin, but apparently there was enough there to back that ass up. Okay, we were on a bit of a hill too. And by bit of a hill, I mean that's a pretty hellacious hill. 28 feet plus another 12. I think if I actually hit it 40 feet feel, it's going to fly past the hole. Here, let's just get it up this hill. That'll do for now. This is a par putt. All right, saved that birdie. What do we got here on number 3? Oh wow, this is an absolutely drivable. This is drivable, a drivable par 4. Somebody somewhere is absolutely licking their chops right now. I don't quite hit my driver that far, but I'm willing to pretend I do. Let's see what we can muster up here. All right, we are going to be playing out of some tall grass. If you think you're finding your ball in that crap, you're incorrect. Flying Fat Kid says that's what we pay $250 a year for GSPro for, is to not lose any golf balls. Okay, deep rough here, I'm guessing is going to take around 20% of our power away from us, and we need to hit 65, so that's going to add about another 13 yards. So you got to hit this sucker, I don't know, almost 80 yards, and we'll see. Let's just see where it lands here. I've got my 58-degree wedge here. Okay, not bad. Felt a little thin, but if you really, in real life, if you hit a shot like that out of that tall grass, you'd be probably pretty stoked about it, right? This is going to need to go about 29 feet. Okay, I thought we were going to freeze up there for a second. You guys, that's another thing I would like to comment on. I used to own a SkyTrack Plus, not the gray SkyTrack, the white one, the Plus version, right? And the little connector, the API it used to talk to GSPro, I don't know if it was immature or if it was in beta, but my game would freeze up all the time. Part of why I put the SkyTrack Plus on eBay and the Facebook Marketplace to begin with, but it's really frustrating to be in the middle of a round, hit a shot, it doesn't register in the game. You think your launch monitor's having a senior moment or something, and then you find out it's not registering anything, and you got to quit out of the round. It's pretty frustrating. Okay, that was maybe a little heely, or a lot heely. Should probably be thankful that thing even went 200 yards. Okay, buck 30 into the pin. Let's give it a nice 9-iron here. Not a lot going on with the lie of the shot and the wind, so. Shanked another one. It has been a hot minute since I shanked a shot. That's all right, that happens. Just don't want to do it too often. Not in front of your buddies. Okay. No complaints there. That very well could have gone in the hole. Par somehow. Oh, Lordy. It's 383 rather, yard par 4 here. There's no need to hit driver at all here, but I'm going to anyway. A smart golfer would not hit driver here. Right, but I think most golfers hit a little further than 200 yards in GSPro. Assuming you don't have some other ailment, right? Bad back, or maybe you're a senior golfer. Those aren't the guys I'm talking about. Okay, this is gonna play 140 something. We got a lot of green to work with. I think we need to hit about a 9-iron here. It's going to be on the green, maybe the fairway. Ball's still moving. Ball's still moving. We must, I can't see the heat map here, but, well, we had a heat map for a second. We're 17 yards from the pin, which is 1.2 miles. Okay, it's a double break. Let's just play it as it is. We need to hit this thing about 64 feet. HLA was 1.5 degrees left, which is fine because, you know, 60-foot putt and all of that. 144 to the pin here on number 6 at Dumbarnie Links. Do we have any green to work with? We do. I'm going to hit a 9-iron. Hopefully we can flush it here. That was not flushed. That was thinned. And we're hoping to get this ball up next to the pin here. To the pin. Ball's going to want to come out left. We can see that by the lie. I'm not real concerned about 1.3 degrees left at 34 yards. What's our heat map doing? Not a whole lot. We certainly don't want to go past the hole though. Let's try to hit about, I don't know, 30 yards. A little too much there. I think the bogey monster's trying to sneak up and eat our birdie here. 9-footer. Man, I'm glad that hole was there to stop the ball. Okay, we're retaining that 1 stroke under score there. 7th hole. Oh yeah, this is crazy. That dude's at 16 under par. On a Joe Legowski event, no less. Yeah, that's a little crazy. Okay, let's cue up the driver here. Big banana slice into the deep rough. This is a par 5 though. Let's just try to get this out of here. This is going to eat up a lot of power, so make sure you give yourself plenty of runway or you will overshoot the aircraft carrier here. Okay, another shank. Yeah, I haven't had very many of those lately. They're pretty crazy. So 190 now. Let's take the same club here, but actually hit it correctly and see if we can't get ourselves out of this crap heap we're in here. Yeah, hitting a lot of shanky shanks, baby. And then I hit that thick. We're just all over the place here, folks. All over the place. That's golf though. So now we're 127 tiny little calorie-free yards out from the hole. I'd say, let's see what the 9er will do. We got to get out of this hole. We're hemorrhaging strokes here. 26. We are hemorrhaging strokes, folks. Okay, that was a pure shot. We should be all right. Oh, did I speak too soon? Okay, spoke too soon. Was not tracking those 2 little pothole bunkers there. I was too busy yapping my gums. We gotta get out of here. We are in trouble. Lay this not pitching wedge, this 58-degree nice and flat here, and then hope for a miracle. Okay, we're out. It ain't pretty. We're hemorrhaging strokes here though. Let's see. 17. This is not the correct club for this situation. I apologize. 17 yards. Sit. Okay. It's going to make us putt. Adding a bit of insult to injury, adding a bit of salt to that wound. This putt's for double, meaning if I miss it, it's a trip. All right, so there went our birdie, and it took a friend with it. Or should I say it brought a friend with it. Okay, buck 15 down about 3. This is going to play about 112. What do we got? We got some green to work with. Let's hit the pitching wedge here, or excuse me, the gap wedge. Pretty good shot there. Coming down right on the pin. Even the gap wedge was a little too much there. Should be able to escape here with at least a par. Okay. Let's call this 20 feet feel. Uh-oh. Nice. Back to even there with a bird. You could say I flipped that hole the bird. It'd be nice to get a hold of a drive here, but if history's any indicator, it's probably not happening. Let's try it though. That should not be bad, folks. It ain't no 300-yard drive, but it is in the fairway, about 220, leaving us 130 into the pin, uphill, a couple of little baby bunkers. Let's try to land maybe here. What's our 120-ish club? I have a hard time believing this pitching wedge is my 110 club, but it would just depend on what your bag mapping looked like that day, right? Nice flush shot there. And we're gonna be pretty short. So what'd the P hit? It did, it carried 112. That's pretty nutty. A little bit off the heel, but not a bad strike there. I'd say we could safely leave the pitching wedge at, let's call it a $115 here. There we go. And then obviously we have a bit of a putt to make here. But if we can get it near the circle, we should be good for a par here. Okay, 38, 30, let's call it 35-ish here. All right, I just kind of screwed ourselves there. We got to make this putt or we're going to eat another stroke. There's nothing going on with this putt. My HLA will kill me, but the putt's fine. Little 8-footer. All right, I'm glad that hole was there to stop the ball. Who put that there? Who put that hole there? All right, what do we got here at Dumbarnie? 10th hole. Luckily, I cannot hit to the little water hazard there, so we're good to go. Probably playing off the beach. Yeah, that was real heely. Driver's a real fickle mistress, I've found. Okay, we got to get this up 200 yards out of a bunker. Let's hit the 4-iron and hope for a bit of loft here. Okay, we certainly got the loft, but it is heading in absolutely the wrong direction. Almost OB. What do we do there? Oh, off the heel. So we've transitioned from extreme toe shots to now being on the heel. What do we got? 82 out of the deep rough. I'd say we probably need to hit closer to about 100 yards. Let's hit this gap wedge and see what pans out. Was that a little heely too? No, it was just thin. All right. Let's grab the pitching wedge here and do a bit of a bump and run, except for it wants us to putt. Putter is a much higher percentage club. So we need to hit this sucker about, I don't know, let's call it 35 feet up this hill, over the woods, through the whatever. Just left the circle. Okay, let's put this one in the hole for bogey, unfortunately. What do we got here, 6-footer? Okay, that took us to 1 over. The folks who participate in Joe Legowski's league are not slouches. So you got to be minding your P's and Q's. I'm at 1 over par, which is a lot better than I usually shoot in his league. And I'm in 57th place on the scoreboard there. So that's fun. Let's see if we can wallop this ball here. I've got a pretty good hold of it, but it's doing its normal fadey, slicey thing. I'm a bobber there. And GSPro gave us a fairway in regulation. Things are really looking up, I guess you could say. I guess you could say things are getting pretty serious. All right, 63 yards, but I can tell there's some undulation here. We don't probably want to hit exactly 63 yards, but we don't want to be too short either. That wasn't a particularly spot on chip shot there, but we move on with our lives. And we live to play another day, right? Let's call this 53 feet here. Feel. Not quite there, but the last putt, I believe, on the last hole was missed that far past the pin, so damned if you do, damned if you don't. Little 7-foot 7-inch putt here. Little hot, but we caught the back of the hole. 1 over after 11. Perfectly happy with that score. Let's hopefully not blow it up. Been hitting off the heel. Let's back up off this a little bit further here. Okay. That is not going to put us in any sort of position. What do we do? Hit right under the ball. Still out to in, hit right under the ball like we did. I think we did that last round. Just trying to dial this driver in. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet. But I can't spend the rest of my golf career hitting with my 3-wood off the tee. That's not fun for anyone. Let's poke a... No, we can't do that out of the deep rough. We got to hit something bigger than a 4. Let's just see what we can do with this 3-wood. Because you would actually never hit this club out of this lie in a million years, right? That wasn't a particularly awesome strike, but I feel like we lost at least 20%. Yeah. 70 off the fairway. 72. Let's maybe hit a little like 67 here. Not quite. 63 carry. And then a putt. 1 putt is forthcoming, and since we kind of screwed up our drive, we got to sink this or we're going to go another stroke up. 17-foot putt, that's obviously way further than even the pros make. But for some reason we think we're all on the PGA Tour and we should be sinking 17-foot putts. So here we go. Almost. All right, snagged another stroke on the scorecard there, but we're moving on. We're moving right along. We're on the 13th hole. See if we can't get the driver doing something. It has not cooperated thus far. That might be all right. It felt heely. Oh yeah, that was way off the heel. I might have removed some paint. Okay. Not a great drive, but it's a par 5 and we still have a quarter of a mile to get this ball. Ideally, if you were a badass, you would land it right here, right? If you were a bad A. Okay, that is not where I aimed. What is the launch monitor data saying here? It was off the center of the club. It looks like it just was a bit thick and slightly open face. And not in a good way, not like breakfast. 120 yards, let's hit a P. Pretty good shot there. A little too far. So what'd the P? P carried 122. Let's move the P to 120 yards at sea level here, which gives us a bit of a gap between our gap wedge and our pitching wedge. But like I said earlier, when you're playing a different altitude, like I play a drastically different altitude here in Utah. I'm at 4,300 feet above sea level. And I did it again. Okay. 1 hour later, he attempted his putt. I don't know, 18 feet here or so. Very close. Very close. Par on that 5. 150 yards here. We don't want to obviously hit 150. Let's hit an 8 iron. We're pushing everything today. Not sure why. I'll let you know when I figure out all of those things. Pretty good strike there. It's a little right, a little pushed, and too far from the pin. So 131 carry with the 8. So that's quite a ways off what I have on my cheater sheet here. We need to hit this about 60 feet of feel. 60 feet of feel. Feel like that's going to come up way short. And now we've got to make this or we are going to inherit yet another stroke here at Dumbarnie. Maybe we're just being dumb. 9-footer. Got her, got her. Okay, let's see if we can drop another stroke here. Oh, I remember this one. So you'd obviously want to hit the right here, because that gives you a 226-yard approach. If you hit here, it's only 25 more yards. I guess I don't really see any value in trying to hit a fairway that's a little out of my skill range to hit anyway. If you're hitting fairways that skinny, then you're a good person. I don't know. What are you? I don't know what that's called. What's that called? A snap hook? I'm not. Oh, the way off. Yeah. It probably left a paint mark. Yeah, there's some ball has rubbed off on my club here. We're 10 nautical miles from the pin in the deep stuff, so I'd imagine the club, the 3-wood might hit about right there, but it's tough to say because we're going to lose about 20% power out of this rough. That's way too high for a 3-wood to hit. So we are again back in the deep rough. Yeah, that was a land shark off the heel. So let's take another poke with the 3-wood. Get this down here, right there. And then that, I topped it. Okay, now after 3 shots into a par 5, we're still almost 150 out, but we can recover from this. All right, I'm pushing everything. I think maybe my man boobs are getting in the way, I'm not sure. Because they feel extra voluptuous right now. Let's see. 22 yards. 22 yards out of this crap. We're slightly short-sighted here. Probably could have landed a little further back off the green, but I'd say that's fine. We're obviously going to eat another couple of strokes here. Let's just get the ball as close to the pin as we can. You'd be lucky to have a score like this on the real golf course, so I don't really have any complaints. Let's try to hit this about 19 feet here. Almost sunk it. I think we're going to take a double on that. Yeah, that hole was bad. We deserved that score there. There's no two ways about it. 173. Let's hit a 7-iron. Not too far off, but it was fat. I guess I'm leaning forward or something during my downswing, but the last couple of days have been nothing but pretty awesome golf, so I'm over it already, really, is what I'm saying. Okay, let's try to hit this about, I don't know, 25. So we're +4 after 16. It is what it is. Let's hit our golf ball here. Another super short par 4. Everybody is absolutely licking their chops here. Okay, that's way offline. That's 40 yards offline to the right. You're not going to win any contests doing that. Okay, 65 yards here on the 17th. So we know we need to hit probably around closer to 80, maybe 75, so we don't go past the hole here. Get up there. All right, pushed another one. That's what we're doing this round. And it's good to just deal with it. 22. Let's try to hit this like 24 yards here, or feet. Okay, HLA was 1.1 degree to the right. That's probably why you didn't see a break there. 205, 230. Bust out the driver. We might be all right. Get out of there. All right, so we're in the semi-rough or semi-rough, depending on what part of the world or country you're from. And we have 180 yards to go on this par 4 here. Let's take the 6-iron. Ball's gonna wanna naturally come out to the left. Let's see if that can help overcome some of the pushing we've been doing. That was super fat. Stay out of there, that's no good. Okay, we're in one of these like pothole bunker here, pot bunker. Super fat shot there. You can see in the replay on the lab software, the club was literally moving through the artificial turf here. And you lose a lot of velocity, just like you would on the real golf course. 70 yards here. Really not a bad shot out of a bunker that heinous. Shot 4 on a par 4. 27. Let's call it 28 feet here. It wanted to, but it didn't. So we're gonna go another stroke up. Oh, that was the end. That was the end. All right, guys, we were 1 under for a bit. I think we might have gone 2 under. No, we never went 2 under. And then got out of there with about a 77. Not about, it's exactly what we got out of there with. Par 72, had a lot of pars. Pretty good scorecard there. Let's check the statistics. 11 pars, 2 birdies. You got these 3 bogeys and 2 double bogeys. We were able to get out of there without any double plus. 30 putts is acceptable. 10 greens in regulation, which tells me that some of the problem was putting. 7 fairways. And then this GSPro handicap stuff, it still kind of escapes me what it means. 3.9 is basically what we scored on the round. I guess if you were to determine your handicap off of a single round, you'd say, looky, looky, I'm a 3.9 handicap. Yeah. Yeah. And then I still don't kind of understand what that means. All right. Let's check something here. Players. Never mind. All right, guys. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next video for more awesome simulator goodness. Catch you later.